Something I've kept buried for so long that sometimes I wonder if it even happened. But it did. Every moment of it. And now, after all these years, I need to say it out loud. My name is Emma. And this is the story of how I lost my husband twice. It started on a Tuesday morning in November. I remember because Maya had just turned 3 the week before. And we still had birthday balloons tied to the kitchen chairs. Pink ones. She loved pink. I was making coffee when I saw the car pull up outside. You know that feeling when your body knows something before your mind does? When your hands start shaking and your stomach drops and you can't breathe but you don't even know why yet. That's what happened to me. I watched 2 uniformed officers get out of that car and I knew. I knew before they knocked on the door. Before they took off their hats. Before they said a single word. My husband was dead. His name was David. I should tell you that. David Michael Carson. We met when I was 22 at a friend's barbecue. He had this smile that made you feel like you were the only person in the world. Like everything was going to be okay as long as he was there. 3 years later, he deployed to Afghanistan. I was 6 months pregnant with Maya. He came home for her birth. Held her in the hospital with tears running down his face, whispering promises about all the things they would do together. The places they would go. How he would teach her to ride a bike and catch fireflies and never, ever let anything hurt her. He deployed again when she was 2. That time he didn't come home. I opened the door that Tuesday morning, and the casualty officer looked at me with eyes that had done this too many times. He asked if he could come in. Asked if I wanted to sit down. I said no. I don't know why. Maybe I thought if I stayed standing, if I didn't sit down, then it wouldn't be real. Like I could just close the door and rewind time and make it all disappear. But you can't close the door on death. He told me there had been an attack. An ambush in a valley whose name I can't even pronounce. David's unit had been caught in crossfire. 3 men were killed instantly. 2 were wounded. David was missing. Missing. That word lived in my chest like a stone for weeks. Missing didn't mean dead. Missing meant there was still hope. Still a chance. But the officer's face told me everything I needed to know. They had searched for 5 days. Found blood. Found David's dog tags half buried in sand. Found pieces of the vehicle they were in. Scattered across the desert like confetti. But no body. No David. After 2 weeks they sent me a letter. Official. Final. Presumed dead. I stared at those words until they stopped making sense. Presumed. It's such a terrible word, isn't it? It means they think they know. They believe they know. But they don't actually know. How do you bury someone when there's no body? How do you say goodbye when there's nothing to say goodbye to? Maya asked about him every day. Where's Daddy? When is Daddy coming home? Why doesn't Daddy call me anymore? I didn't know how to answer her. How do you explain death to a 3-year-old? How do you tell your daughter that her father, who promised to teach her to ride a bike, is never coming back? So I lied. I told her Daddy was on a very long mission. That he would come home as soon as he could. That he loved her more than anything in the world. And every time I said it, I hated myself a little more. The funeral was 3 weeks later. A funeral with no body. Just a flag and a folded uniform and a room full of people who kept telling me how sorry they were. How brave David was. How proud I should be. Proud. I wanted to scream at them. I wanted to tell them that pride doesn't keep you warm at night. Pride doesn't help you raise a daughter alone. Pride doesn't fill the empty space in your bed, or answer the phone when you're falling apart at 2 in the morning. But I didn't scream. I stood there in my black dress, holding Maya's hand, and I nodded. I smiled. I said thank you. I played the part of the strong military widow, because that's what they needed me to be. David's mother gave me his dog tags at the funeral, the ones they found in the desert. They were covered in sand and blood. And when she pressed them into my palm, I felt something inside me break. These were supposed to come home with him. On his chest. With his heartbeat underneath them. Not like this. Never like this. That night, after everyone left, after Maya finally fell asleep, I sat in our bedroom and opened David's closet. His uniforms were still there. His boots. His favorite flannel shirt that smelled like him, like cedar and coffee and home. I pulled that shirt off the hanger and buried my face in it. And I cried. I cried until there was nothing left. Until I was empty. Until I was just a shell of a person sitting on the floor of a bedroom I would never share with my husband again. Maya found me there in the morning. She climbed into my lap, still in her pajamas with the little pink flowers, and she touched my face with her tiny hand. "Mommy, are you sad about Daddy?" I looked at my daughter, at David's eyes staring back at me from her 3-year-old face, and I realized that I couldn't fall apart. Not completely. Not when she needed me. So I lied again. "I'm okay, baby. Mommy's okay." But I wasn't okay. I wasn't okay for a long time. The first year was the hardest. Every holiday, every birthday, every milestone Maya reached without her father there to see it. I kept waiting for it to get easier, for the pain to fade, for the mornings when I woke up and didn't immediately reach for the empty space beside me. But it didn't get easier. Just got different. I learned to be alone. Learned to be both mother and father. Learned to smile when Maya showed me her drawings of soldiers with yellow stars on their chests. I learned to lie. To her. To myself. To everyone who asked how I was doing. "I'm fine. I'm managing. I'm strong." But at night, when Maya was asleep and the house was quiet, I would take out David's dog tags and hold them until the metal grew warm in my hands. And I would whisper to him. I would tell him about Maya's day. About the funny thing she said at breakfast. About how she was learning to write her name. I would tell him I missed him. I would tell him I was sorry. Sorry that I couldn't save him. Sorry that he died alone in a desert on the other side of the world. Sorry that I was here living and breathing, while he was just a name on a wall and a folded flag in a box. 2 years passed like that. 2 years of surviving. Of going through the motions. Of being the widow everyone expected me to be. And then I met James. I wasn't looking for someone. I didn't want someone. I had convinced myself that part of my life was over. That I had my chance at love and lost it, and that was just how things were. But life doesn't ask permission. Just happens. James was a teacher at Maya's preschool. Kind eyes. Gentle voice. He noticed when I was struggling. Noticed when I couldn't quite manage the smile I was trying to wear. He asked if I was okay. And for the first time in 2 years I told the truth. "No, I'm not." We started talking. Just talking. In the parking lot after I picked up Maya. Over coffee on Saturday mornings while she played at the park. He made me laugh. I had forgotten what that felt like. He didn't try to fix me. Didn't tell me it would get better or that David would want me to move on or any of the useless things people say when they don't know what else to do. He just listened. And slowly, without me even realizing it was happening, I started to feel something. Something I thought I would never feel again. Hope. 3 months after we met, James asked me to dinner. Just the two of us. No Maya. No preschool parking lot. No pretending this was anything other than what it was. A date. I said yes. And the moment I said it, I felt like I was betraying David. Like I was erasing him. Replacing him. Moving on as if our life together meant nothing. But I went anyway. Because I was tired of being alone. Tired of talking to dog tags in the dark. Tired of being frozen in a moment that happened 2 years ago while the rest of the world kept spinning. That dinner changed everything. James kissed me goodnight on my doorstep and I kissed him back. And when I walked inside, when I closed the door and leaned against it in the dark, I felt something I hadn't felt since the day those officers knocked on my door. I felt alive. But I also felt guilty. So guilty I almost threw up. I went to the bedroom and opened the drawer where I kept David's dog tags. I held them in my hands and I waited. Waited for some sign. Some voice in my head telling me what to do. Telling me if this was okay. If I was allowed to want this. To want someone who wasn't him. But there was no sign. Just silence. Just me and a piece of metal and a choice I didn't know how to make. Could I love someone else? Could I let myself be happy? Or was I supposed to stay frozen forever? A monument to a marriage that ended in a desert I would never see? I didn't have the answer that night. But I would find it. And when I did, when I finally made my choice, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was moving forward. I thought the worst was behind me. I had no idea that 20 years later, everything I thought I knew would be ripped apart. Because David wasn't dead. And he was coming home. I want to tell you about the moment I decided to let myself love again. It wasn't romantic. It wasn't beautiful. It was messy and painful and felt like betrayal with every breath. James and I had been seeing each other for 6 months. 6 months of dinners and phone calls and stolen moments when Maya was at playdates. 6 months of feeling like I was living two lives at once. In one life I was Emma the widow, David's wife, the woman who kept his dog tags in her nightstand and couldn't bring herself to take off her wedding ring. In the other life I was just Emma, a woman who laughed at bad jokes and felt butterflies when someone held her hand. A woman who was allowed to want things, to feel things. I didn't know which woman I was supposed to be. Maya loved James. That made it harder. She would run to him when we picked her up from school, would ask when he was coming over, would fall asleep on his lap during movie nights. She called him Mr. James. Never Dad. Never anything that would erase David. But I could see it happening. I could see her forming an attachment, creating a bond, and part of me was grateful, because she deserved to have a man in her life who showed up, who was there, who didn't exist only in photographs and stories I told her at bedtime. But the other part of me felt like I was letting David disappear. Like every moment Maya spent with James was a moment she wasn't remembering her real father. One night after James left, Maya asked me a question that broke my heart. "Mommy, is Mr. James going to be my new daddy?" I froze. We were in her bedroom. I was tucking her in, surrounded by stuffed animals and night lights, and all the safe, simple things of a 5-year-old's world. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" She looked at me with those eyes. David's eyes. And she said the thing I had been terrified she would say. "I don't remember what my real daddy looks like anymore." I couldn't breathe. I had shown her pictures, told her stories, tried so hard to keep David alive in her memory. But she was 3 when he deployed, 3 when he died. How could I expect her to hold on to something that was already fading? Children forget. It's what they do. It's how they survive. But I couldn't let her forget. So I went to the closet and pulled out the box. The box I had been avoiding for 2 years. The one filled with David's things. Letters he wrote me during his first deployment. Photos from our wedding. The flannel shirt that didn't smell like him anymore. And I sat on Maya's bed, and I showed her everything. I told her about the day I met her father. About how he made me laugh so hard I snorted, and how he said he was going to marry me before we even finished our first conversation. I told her about our wedding. How it rained and we didn't care. How we danced in the parking lot because the tent collapsed and everyone was soaked and it was perfect anyway. I told her about the night she was born. How David cried when he held her. How he whispered that she was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Maya listened, holding a photo of David in his uniform, tracing his face with her small finger. "He loved you so much," I told her. "More than anything. And he would be so proud of the girl you're becoming." She looked up at me. "Do you still love Daddy?" "Yes. I will always love Daddy." "Then it's okay if you love Mr. James too." She said it so simply. Like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Like love wasn't a betrayal. Like hearts could hold more than one person without breaking. And I realized she was right. 5-year-old Maya understood something I had been fighting for 2 years. Loving James didn't erase David. Didn't mean I forgot. Didn't mean I stopped grieving. Didn't mean the pain went away. It just meant I was choosing to keep living. 2 months later, James proposed. We were at the beach. Maya was building sandcastles with some kids she had just met, and James and I were walking along the water. He stopped and turned to me, and I knew what was coming before he even reached into his pocket. "Emma, I love you. I love Maya. I know I can never replace David and I would never try. But I want to build a life with you. I want to be there for you. For both of you. If you'll let me." He pulled out a ring. It wasn't flashy. Just a simple silver band with a small diamond. Beautiful in its honesty. "Will you marry me?" I looked at that ring and I felt everything at once. Joy. Terror. Guilt. Hope. I thought about David. About our wedding day. About the promises we made. Till death do us part. Death had parted us. But I was still here. Still living. Still breathing. And I had a choice. I could say no. Could stay frozen in the past. Could build a monument to my grief and live there forever. Or I could say yes. Could choose life. Could let myself have this second chance that I never asked for but somehow found anyway. I looked at James. At this kind man who had put my broken pieces back together without asking for anything in return. Who loved my daughter like she was his own. Who made me remember what it felt like to be wanted. "Yes," I said. "Yes, I'll marry you." He kissed me, and Maya came running over. squealing with excitement because she somehow knew what had just happened. And for a moment, just a moment, I let myself be happy. But that night, alone in my bedroom, I took off David's wedding ring for the first time in 7 years. My hand felt naked without it. I sat there holding that ring, feeling the weight of what I was about to do. I was going to marry someone else. I was going to stand in front of people and make promises to a man who wasn't David. I was going to build a new life and have a new last name and become someone I never imagined I would be. I put David's ring in the box with his dog tags. And I cried. I cried for the life we were supposed to have. For the man who died in a desert believing I would wait for him forever. For the promises I was breaking even though death had already broken them first. I'm sorry, I whispered to the ring. To David. To the ghost that still lived in every corner of this house. I'm so sorry. But I couldn't stay buried with him. I had to live. For Maya. For myself. For the future that was somehow still possible even after everything had fallen apart. James and I got married 6 months later. It was small. Just close friends and family. Maya was our flower girl, wearing a white dress and carrying roses that kept falling out of her basket. I wore blue. I couldn't wear white. Felt wrong. Everything about that day felt wrong and right at the same time. Wrong because David should have been there. Because this wasn't the life we planned. Because I was standing at an altar with a different man. Making different promises, becoming a different person. Right, because James looked at me like I was everything. Because Maya was smiling. Because I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt whole. When the minister said, "You may kiss the bride," James kissed me gently. And I kissed him back. And I didn't think about David. Not in that moment. I was just Emma. Just a woman getting married. Just someone choosing happiness after years of drowning in grief. The guilt would come later. It always did. In quiet moments. In the space between sleep and waking. In the dreams where David was still alive and I had to explain why I was in someone else's arms. But on that day I let myself have this. We moved into a new house. A fresh start. Somewhere without David's ghost in every room. Maya adjusted better than I expected. She called James Dad within the first year. Not to replace David, she told me. Just because he was there. Because he read her bedtime stories and helped with homework and showed up to every school play. Because he was her dad now, too. James and I were happy. Really truly happy. We had date nights and inside jokes and all the small boring intimacies of a normal marriage. He left his socks on the floor. I hogged the blankets. We argued about what to watch on TV and how to load the dishwasher. It was ordinary. And ordinary felt like a miracle after years of extraordinary grief. 2 years after we got married, I got pregnant. I hadn't expected it. Hadn't planned for it. I was 32 years old and had convinced myself that Maya was my only child. That I wouldn't have more. That David's daughter was enough. But here I was. Pregnant. With James's baby. When I told him, he cried. Happy tears. He picked me up and spun me around and kissed me like I had given him the greatest gift in the world. And I was happy too. But underneath the happiness was something else. Fear. Because now I would have 2 daughters. One who was David's. One who was James's. And I didn't know how to love them both without one feeling like a betrayal of the other. The pregnancy was easy. Too easy. Like life was trying to make up for all the pain it had put me through. We found out we were having a girl. James wanted to name her Sophie. I agreed. Maya was excited about being a big sister. She talked to my belly and drew pictures of the 3 of them together, and made plans for all the things she would teach her baby sister. She never mentioned that Sophie would have a different father than her. To Maya, we were just a family. Simple as that. I wished I could see it that way. We moved into a new house. A fresh start. Somewhere without David's ghost in every room. Maya adjusted better than I expected. She called James Dad within the first year. Not to replace David, she told me. Just because he was there. Because he read her bedtime stories and helped with homework and showed up to every school play. Because he was her dad now, too. James and I were happy. Really truly happy. We had date nights and inside jokes and all the small boring intimacies of a normal marriage. He left his socks on the floor. I hogged the blankets. We argued about what to watch on TV and how to load the dishwasher. It was ordinary. And ordinary felt like a miracle after years of extraordinary grief. 2 years after we got married, I got pregnant. I hadn't expected it. Hadn't planned for it. I was 32 years old and had convinced myself that Maya was my only child. That I wouldn't have more. That David's daughter was enough. But here I was. Pregnant. With James's baby. When I told him, he cried. Happy tears. He picked me up and spun me around and kissed me like I had given him the greatest gift in the world. And I was happy too. But underneath the happiness was something else. Fear. Because now I would have 2 daughters. One who was David's. One who was James's. And I didn't know how to love them both without one feeling like a betrayal of the other. The pregnancy was easy. Too easy. Like life was trying to make up for all the pain it had put me through. We found out we were having a girl. James wanted to name her Sophie. I agreed. Maya was excited about being a big sister. She talked to my belly and drew pictures of the 3 of them together, and made plans for all the things she would teach her baby sister. She never mentioned that Sophie would have a different father than her. To Maya, we were just a family. Simple as that. I wished I could see it that way. If she felt like an outsider in her own family. If she missed someone she couldn't even remember. If she wished her life had been different. I never asked. Maybe I should have. But I was afraid of the answer. The years passed. We were happy. So happy that sometimes I forgot to feel guilty about it. Maya grew up smart and kind and strong. She played soccer. Made honor roll. Had friends and sleepovers and all the normal teenage drama. Sophie and Rachel idolized her. Followed her everywhere. Wanted to be just like their big sister. James got a promotion. We took family vacations. Celebrated holidays. Built traditions. I stopped having nightmares about David. Stopped reaching for his dog tags in the middle of the night. Stopped feeling like I was living someone else's life. This was my life now. This was my family. And I was happy. I really was. 20 years after David died, Maya was 23. Graduated from college. Working at a nonprofit. Dating a boy named Eric who made her laugh. Sophie was 18. About to start her freshman year of college. Nervous and excited and ready to take on the world. Rachel was 15. All attitude and energy. Testing boundaries. Figuring out who she was. And James and I had been married for 20 years. 20 years of ordinary, beautiful, complicated life. We had dinner together every Sunday. The whole family. It was our thing. Our tradition. That Sunday in August we were all there. Laughing. Talking over each other. Sophie was teasing Rachel about her new haircut. Maya was telling a story about work. James was grilling chicken in the backyard. It was perfect. Normal. Everything I never thought I would have after David died. And then the doorbell rang. I got up to answer it, still laughing at something Rachel had said. I opened the door. And my entire world shattered. Because standing on my doorstep, older and thinner and scarred in ways I couldn't comprehend, was my husband. David. Alive. I want you to understand something. When someone dies, you grieve them. You cry and you hurt, and eventually, slowly, you learn to live without them. You build a new life around the hole they left behind. But when someone comes back from the dead, there's no word for what you feel. There's no manual. No stages of grief in reverse. No way to prepare for the moment when everything you believed about your life turns out to be a lie. I stood in that doorway staring at a ghost. That's what he looked like. A ghost. Not the David I remembered. Not the man in the photographs on my mantle. This David was thin. Too thin. His face was weathered and scarred, with lines that hadn't been there before. His hair was longer, streaked with gray. His eyes, those dark brown eyes that Maya had inherited, were different. Harder. Haunted. He stared at me like he had seen his own ghost. Emma, he said. His voice cracked on my name. That voice I had spent 20 years trying to forget. That voice I heard in dreams I pretended not to remember. I couldn't speak. Couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Behind me, I heard James laugh at something one of the girls said. Heard the sound of dishes clattering. Heard the ordinary sounds of the life I had built. The life that was about to explode. Is it really you? David whispered. And something in those words, the desperate hope in them, broke through my shock. I stumbled backward. My hand went to my mouth. I thought I might throw up. David took a step forward and I saw him wince. Saw the way he favored his left leg. Saw the scars on his hands, on his neck, disappearing under his shirt. What had happened to him? I found you, he said. His voice was shaking. I've been looking for so long. And I finally found you. Mom? Who is it? Maya's voice came from behind me. I heard her footsteps approaching. And in that moment I had to make a choice. I could close the door. Could pretend this wasn't happening. Could protect the life I had built, the family that didn't know their foundation was built on a lie. Or I could let him in. Let the past crash into the present. Let everything fall apart. I turned around just as Maya reached the door. She looked at David. Looked at me. Looked back at David. She didn't recognize him. How could she? She was 3 when he deployed. 23 now. He was a stranger to her. Just a thin, scarred man on our doorstep. Can I help you? She asked politely. I watched David's face as he looked at his daughter for the first time in 20 years. I watched him see the woman she had become. Beautiful. Strong. Alive. I watched his eyes fill with tears. I said. My voice came out broken. Go get your father. I meant James. But the moment I said it, I realized what I had done. David heard it too. I saw the confusion cross his face. The hurt. Maya looked at me strangely but turned and called for James. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. David and I stood there on the porch. 2 feet apart. An entire lifetime apart. You're alive, I finally said. It wasn't a question. It was an accusation. He nodded. I know this is impossible. I know you must have thought. They told me you were dead. They sent me a letter. They gave me your dog tags. There was a funeral. I know. How? How are you alive? It's complicated, he said. Can we go somewhere? Can we talk? Before I could answer, the door opened. James stood there. My husband. The man I had spent 20 years building a life with. He looked at David. At me. At the space between us that felt like a chasm. Everything okay? He asked. I had no idea how to answer that. James, I said slowly. This is David. I watched understanding dawn on his face. Watched the color drain from his skin. Watched him step back like he had been hit. David. He repeated. You're David. I'm her husband, David said. The words hung in the air like a grenade. James looked at me. Really looked at me. And I saw the question in his eyes. The question I didn't have an answer for. Emma? He said quietly. I think we need to talk, I managed to say. All of us. Inside, Sophie and Rachel were setting the table. Laughing. Completely unaware that their entire world was about to change. I wanted to protect them from this. Wanted to keep them in their safe, simple life where they had 2 parents and 2 sisters and Sunday dinners with grilled chicken. But I couldn't. Because David was alive. And that changed everything. We went to the living room. James sat on the couch. David stood near the door, like he wasn't sure he was allowed to come in any further. I stood in the middle between them. Between my past and my present. Between the husband I thought I lost and the husband I chose. Start talking, James said. His voice was calm, but I could hear the tension underneath. David looked at me, then at James, then back at me. I was captured, he said. The day of the attack. They found me in the wreckage and took me. Held me for 6 months before moving me to a different location. I tried to escape twice. Failed both times. I felt sick. Why didn't anyone know? I asked. Why didn't the military? They thought I was dead, David said. They found my tags. Found blood. They stopped looking. And the people who had me, they didn't want anyone to know. They kept me in places that didn't exist on any map. How long? James asked. David looked at him. Really looked at him. Sizing him up. Understanding, I think, what he was looking at. His replacement. 5 years, David said. They held me for 5 years. 5 years. While I was falling in love with James. While I was getting married. While I was pregnant with Sophie. David was alive. Suffering. Trying to survive. Trying to get home. I escaped when they moved me. Got out. Made it to a village. But I was injured. Sick. It took months to recover. And when I finally got to someone who could help me, who could contact the military, they didn't believe me at first. Why not? 'Cause I was dead. Officially dead. My record showed I died in that ambush. It took 2 years to verify who I was. To prove I was really David Carson. To get me home. 2 years. 7 years total since the day he was captured. 7 years of trying to get back to me. And I hadn't waited. The silence in the room was suffocating. James stood up. I should go, he said. No, I said quickly. James, please. He looked at me with eyes that were breaking. Emma, I think you and David need to talk. Alone. What about the girls? I'll tell them something came up. I'll take them out for ice cream. Give you time. He walked to the door. Stopped. Turned back to me. I love you, he said. Whatever happens next, I want you to know that. I love you. And then he was gone. I heard him in the kitchen, heard his voice telling the girls to grab their jackets, heard their protests and his gentle insistence. I heard the back door close. I heard the car start. I heard my second family leave. And then it was just me and David. My first husband. The man I had mourned for 20 years. The man I had buried in my heart and learned to live without. He stood there looking at me like I was water and he had been dying of thirst. Emma, he said softly. I never stopped thinking about you. Never stopped fighting to get back. You were the only thing that kept me alive in that place. I couldn't look at him. Couldn't bear the weight of what he was saying. I thought you were dead, I whispered. I know. They told me you were dead. I know. I buried you. I said goodbye. I moved on. I know. I'm married, David. I have 2 more daughters. I built a whole life. I know. He said it so gently, so sadly, like he understood that his survival had destroyed everything. I finally looked at him, really looked at him, at the scars and the gray hair and the pain etched into every line of his face. What happened to you? He was quiet for a long moment. Things I don't want to talk about, he finally said. Things I can't talk about. Not yet. I sat down on the couch. My legs wouldn't hold me anymore. David sat across from me, carefully, like his body hurt. Tell me about Maya, he said. Please. I need to know. I missed everything. And just like that, I was supposed to condense 20 years into a conversation. 20 years of first days of school and lost teeth in soccer games and graduations. 20 years he should have been there for. 20 years he lost. She's amazing, I said. My voice cracked. She's smart and kind and strong. She works at a non-profit helping veterans. Veterans. The word felt like acid. Does she remember me? No. I watched that word hit him. Watched him absorb it. She was 3 when you deployed. I tried to keep your memory alive. Showed her pictures. Told her stories. But she doesn't remember you. Not really. And the others? His voice was barely a whisper. Your other daughters? Sophie is 18. Rachel is 15. They're James's daughters. I don't know why I said it like that. James's daughters. Like I was drawing a line, separating my life into before and after. Before David died. After I learned to live again. David nodded slowly. He looked down at his hands. Scarred hands that had survived things I couldn't imagine. I don't blame you, he said quietly. For moving on. For falling in love again. For building a new life. You thought I was dead. You did what you had to do. Don't, I said. Don't be understanding. Don't make this easier. Emma, I loved you. I loved you so much that losing you almost killed me. And I had to learn to live without you. I had to choose to keep going. For Maya. For myself. And I found someone who put me back together. Who loved me. Who gave me a life I didn't think I could have. I know. And now you're here. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know who I'm supposed to be. I was crying now. Really crying. All the shock and confusion and impossible grief pouring out. David moved to sit beside me. Slowly. Hesitantly. Like he wasn't sure if he was allowed. I'm sorry, he said. I'm so sorry. I didn't want this. I didn't want to ruin your life. You're alive, I said. You're alive, and that should be the best thing in the world. That should be a miracle. But instead it feels like everything is falling apart. What do you need from me? I looked at him. At this stranger who used to be my everything. I don't know, I said honestly. I don't know what I need. I don't know what anyone needs. I just know that my life was finally okay. Finally good. And now it's not. Do you love him? David asked. James? The question cut through everything. Yes, I whispered. I love him. David nodded. Like he had expected that answer, but it still hurt to hear. More than you loved me? I stared at him. At this impossible question that had no fair answer. It's not the same, I said. What I have with James, they're different. You don't get to compare them. You don't get to ask me to choose. But that's exactly what I have to do, isn't it? I have to choose. Between the husband I thought I lost and the husband I chose. Between the past and the present. Between two men I loved in completely different ways. And no matter what I chose, someone was going to get destroyed. Emma, David said gently. I didn't come here to ruin your life. I came here because you're my wife. Because Maya's my daughter. Because this is my family. I have another family now, I said. I know. And I don't know how to navigate this any more than you do. But we have to figure it out. How? How do we figure this out? He didn't have an answer. Neither did I. We sat there in silence. Two people who used to know everything about each other, now complete strangers. Outside the sun was setting. Inside my phone kept buzzing. James texting. Asking if I was okay. Asking what he should tell the girls. I didn't know what to tell him. I didn't know anything anymore. David, I finally said. I need time. I need to think. This is too much. How much time? I don't know. Days. Weeks. I don't know. He stood up. Slowly. Painfully. I'm staying at the Comfort Inn on Route 7, he said. Room 214. When you're ready to talk, I'll be there. He walked to the door. Stopped. Turned back. I missed you every day, he said. Every single day for 20 years I thought about you. About coming home. About holding you again. And now I'm here and you're not mine anymore. His voice broke on the last word. And I realized something that made everything worse. Part of me still loved him too. That's what made this impossible. I didn't just love James. I still loved David. And I had no idea what to do with that. David left. I heard his footsteps on the porch. Heard a car start. Heard him drive away. And I sat there in my living room, in the house I shared with James, surrounded by pictures of the family we built together. And I wondered how I had become the kind of person who had two husbands. How I had become the villain in my own story. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? James came home around midnight with the girls. I heard them come in through the garage. Sophie and Rachel's voices were quieter than usual, like they sensed something was wrong. I was sitting in the dark living room, same spot I had been in for hours. James sent the girls upstairs. Then he came and sat across from me. Not next to me. Across. With space between us that felt like an ocean. We need to talk, he said. I know. But neither of us spoke. Finally, James asked the question I had been dreading. What are you going to do? I don't know. Emma, do you still love him? There it was. The question that mattered more than anything else. I looked at my husband. This man I had spent 20 years with. I love you, I said. That's not what I asked. I know. He stood up. Started pacing. He's been dead for 20 years, James said. 20 years. You mourned him. You buried him. You moved on. And now he shows up and I'm supposed to just step aside? No one is asking you to step aside. Aren't they? The first husband gets priority. He was there first. He's the real one. I'm just the replacement. That's not fair. None of this is fair. His voice rose. We heard Sophie's door open upstairs. We both froze. After a moment, the door closed again. James sat back down. Put his head in his hands. I'm sorry. I just don't know how to compete with a ghost who came back to life. You're not competing with anyone. Yes, I am. And I don't know if I can win. I moved to sit next to him. Took his hand. James, listen to me. You are not a replacement. What we have is real. Our marriage is real. Nothing that happened tonight changes that. Everything that happened tonight changes that. And he was right. David is alive, I said slowly. And that's complicated. But it doesn't erase the last 20 years. Doesn't it? Because right now you have two husbands. And legally, morally, every way that matters, he was first. The law doesn't matter here. Yes, it does. You're still married to him, Emma. You never divorced him. Which means our marriage might not be legal. The words hung between us like a death sentence. I hadn't thought about that. But he was right. I was still legally married to David. Had been this whole time. Which meant my marriage to James might not count. No, I said firmly. Our daughters are legitimate. Our marriage is real. David being alive doesn't change that. I don't know if that's true. Then we'll figure it out. We'll talk to a lawyer. James stood up. I could see the exhaustion in every line of his body. I need to sleep, he said. I can't think anymore tonight. He walked toward the stairs. Stopped. Turned back. I love you, Emma. I love you more than I have ever loved anything. But I don't know if that's enough to survive this. He went upstairs. I heard the door close softly. Not a slam. Just a quiet click that somehow felt worse. Around 3 in the morning I heard footsteps on the stairs. Maya appeared in the doorway. Can't sleep? She asked. Not really. She came and sat next to me. Dad told me, she said quietly. It was my biological father, wasn't it? I looked at her. At the way she was handling this with more grace than I was. How did you know? Because I saw the way you looked at him. The way Dad looked at you both. I know what a ghost looks like. Tears started falling down my face. Maya pulled me into a hug. Is he really alive? She whispered. Yes. I told her everything. About the capture. The years in captivity. The escape. Maya listened without interrupting. Do you want to meet him? I finally asked. She pulled back. Looked at me with his eyes. I don't know. He's a stranger to me. I know he's my father, but Dad is my dad. The one who raised me. The one who was there. You don't have to feel anything you don't want to feel. But he's my father. My real father. Doesn't that mean something? Real isn't about biology, I said. Real is about who shows up. Who stays. James is your real father in every way that matters. But David is too, isn't he? He would have stayed if he could have. She was right. And that made everything harder. What are you going to do, Mom? I don't know, baby. I really don't know. Whatever you decide, she finally said, I'm on your side. Not his. Not Dad's. Yours. The loyalty in her voice made me cry harder. When morning came, James got the girls ready for school. He made coffee. Poured me a cup. Set it in front of me without a word. He kissed me on the forehead before he left. But it felt different. Distant. Like he was already preparing himself to lose me. And then I was alone. I picked up my phone. Stared at it for a long time. Then I called David. He answered on the first ring. Emma, I need to see you. We need to talk. Really talk. When? Today. This morning. There's a coffee shop on Main Street. The Corner Cafe. Do you remember it? I remember everything. An hour? I'll be there. When I walked in, David was already there. Sitting in the corner booth. The same booth we used to sit in 25 years ago. Before deployment. Before death. Before everything fell apart. We ordered coffee. Neither of us drank it. Thank you for meeting me, he said. David, I loved you. When we got married. When you deployed. When I got the letter saying you were dead. I loved you so much I didn't think I could survive losing you. Past tense, he noted quietly. I didn't correct him. But eventually I had to let it go. I had to put it away so I could keep living. I understand. Do you? You were fighting to get back to me. But I was here and I had to let you go. I put our marriage in a box with your dog tags and I moved on. And you fell in love with James. Yes. Do you love him the way you loved me? I love him differently. What we had was young love. Passionate and intense. What I have with James is steady. Safe. Built on years of showing up. So you love him more. No. I love him differently. David reached across the table. Stopped just short of touching my hand. I don't want to ruin your life, he said. I just wanted to see you. To know you were okay. To meet my daughter. And now you have. And now I don't know what to do either. Maya doesn't remember you, I said softly. Sophie and Rachel don't even know you exist. To them, James is the only father they've ever known. If I stay. He looked at me. Emma, this is my family. You're my wife. Maya's my daughter. I don't know how to just walk away from that. But that's exactly what I was asking him to do. Walk away. Let me keep the life I had built. David, I said carefully. I need time. I need to figure out what this means. How much time? I don't know. Weeks. Maybe longer. Okay. We'll do it your way. I'll wait. But Emma, I'm not giving up. I lost 20 years. I'm not losing any more. And there it was. He wasn't going to walk away. He wasn't going to make this easy. He was going to fight. I left the cafe feeling worse than when I arrived. I drove home in a daze. And I realized something that made me sick. No matter what I chose, I was going to destroy someone I loved. If I chose David, I would break James's heart, would tear apart the family we built. If I chose James, I would destroy the man who had fought for 20 years to get back to me. There was no good choice. No right answer. Only pain in every direction. That night, James came home late. Did you see him? He asked. Yes. And I don't know what to do. James nodded. I got a call today, he said. From a lawyer friend. I asked him about our situation. My stomach dropped. What did he say? He said technically, legally, you're still married to David. Our marriage happened while you were still legally married to someone else. So our marriage isn't real. He stopped. Took a breath. I can't live like this. In limbo. Not knowing if you're going to choose me or him. What are you saying? Taking in every detail of the daughter he had missed growing up. Hi, Maya said. Her voice was steady, but I could hear the tremor underneath. Hi, Maya. They sat on the bench. I sat nearby, far enough to give them privacy but close enough to hear. I don't really know what to say, Maya started. This is weird. It is. I'm sorry. This is really messed up, you know? You coming back. In movies it's romantic. In real life it's just complicated. I know. I didn't want to complicate anyone's life. But you did. By surviving. By coming back. You made everything complicated. David was quiet for a moment. Would you rather I had stayed dead? The question was harsh but fair. Maya thought about it. Really thought about it. I don't know. I don't want you to be dead. But I also don't want my family to fall apart. And I don't know if we can have both. Neither do I. They talked for over an hour. David told Maya about her birth. About holding her in the hospital. About the promises he made. Maya listened. Tried to reconcile these stories with the reality that she didn't remember any of it. David showed her photos he had carried with him all these years. Photos of the three of us. Maya cried. Quiet tears sliding down her face as she looked at pictures of a life she didn't remember. When they were done, Maya stood up. I need time, she told him. To process this. To figure out what it means. I understand. But I'm not opposed to getting to know you. If that's what you want. I'd like that very much. Maya walked over to me. We left together. In the car, Maya was quiet. How do you feel? I asked. Confused. Sad. Angry. Everything at once. We drove home in silence. That night, James asked me how it went. It went okay, I said. She handled it better than I expected. She's strong. He said it with pride. James, I started. Then stopped. What? When I was with David, he told me something. About what he went through. In captivity. James waited. They tortured him. For months. Years. And he survived it by thinking about me. About Maya. About getting home. James was quiet. He said I was the only thing that kept him alive. Why are you telling me this? James asked quietly. Because I need you to understand. He suffered. Horribly. But you weren't waiting for him. Because I thought he was dead. James stood up. Started pacing. I think you're trying to justify choosing him. You're painting him as this tragic hero who deserves you more than I do because he suffered more. That's not what I'm doing. Isn't it? You're telling me all the reasons I should step aside. All the reasons his pain matters more than mine. Your pain matters. Does it? I've been here for 20 years. I raised Maya. I gave you 2 more daughters. But none of that seems to count as much as what he went through. That's not fair. No. What's not fair is that I'm being punished for being the one who showed up. For being alive. James, I can't compete with a man who survived torture thinking about you. I'm not asking you to compete. Yes, you are. Every day that you don't choose me, you're asking me to compete. And I'm losing. You're not losing. I am. I can see it in your eyes. You still love him. I love you too. But not enough. And there it was. Maybe he was right. I don't know what you want me to say. I want you to say you choose me. I want you to say that 20 years of marriage matters more than a past that's gone. And if I can't, then you've already lost me. He left the room. I heard the guest room door close. We were sleeping in separate rooms now. The next morning, Sophie cornered me in the kitchen. Mom, what's going on? I looked at my middle daughter. James's daughter. You and Dad. You're fighting. Rachel and I can hear you at night. My heart sank. Are you getting divorced? I don't know. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. Why? I thought we were happy. It's complicated. That's what adults always say when they don't want to explain things. So I told her. About David. About how he came back. Sophie listened. And when I was done, she looked at me with disappointment. So you're thinking about leaving Dad? For someone you used to be married to? It's not that simple. It is that simple. Dad is here. He's been here our whole lives. And you're thinking about throwing that away for someone you haven't seen in 20 years. He's Maya's father. So, Dad is Maya's father too. He's the one who raised her. Biology doesn't make someone a parent. Showing up does. She was right. Then why are you still thinking about it? Why haven't you chosen Dad? Because it's not just about choosing a husband. It's about choosing which life is real. I don't understand you. I don't understand how you can even consider this. She left before I could respond. And I realized I was losing my daughters too. Maya was confused. Sophie was angry. Rachel was scared. And it was all my fault. That afternoon David called. Can we meet? Please. There was something in his voice. Something desperate. I agreed. We met at the same park. Same bench. What is it? I asked. I've been thinking about what I'm doing to your life. And I realized something. I came back expecting things to be the way I left them. Expecting you to be waiting. It's been 20 years. I know. And you built a life. A good life. And I'm destroying that just by existing. You're not destroying anything. Yes, I am. And I need to know if there's even a chance. If you could ever choose me. Because if you can't, I need you to tell me now. I looked at this man. This stranger who used to be everything. I don't know. I don't know how to choose. How do I weigh 20 years against a lifetime? How do I compare showing up against suffering? Do you love me? Yes. As much as you love him? I don't know. Maybe. Differently. He looks so tired. So broken. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep being the ghost who ruins everything. I thought coming back would fix things. But we can't have our life back, can we? That life is gone. I wanted to disagree. But I couldn't lie to him. Maybe it is, I whispered. Then choose. Choose him or choose me, but choose. Because this limbo is killing me. I survived torture. I survived escape. But I can't survive being in love with someone who can't decide if she wants me. I felt tears running down my face. I need more time. How much more? I've already lost 20 years, Emma. I can't lose any more. I'll decide. Promise. I'll decide soon. How soon? 1 month. Give me 1 month to figure this out. He nodded. 1 month. Then he stood up and walked away. And I sat there on that bench watching him go, wondering if I had just made a promise I couldn't keep. The month passed in a blur of sleepless nights and impossible thoughts. I tried to make a list. Pros and cons. James. 20 years of marriage. 2 daughters together. Stability. He knows me now. David. First love. Maya's biological father. 20 years of suffering. He loves the woman I used to be. But the list was useless. This wasn't about logic. I started seeing a therapist, Dr. Sarah Mitchell. In our first session, she asked me something no one else had. Emma, what do you want? I stared at her. What do you mean? Everyone is telling you what they want. But what do you want? I don't know. Think you do. I want both. I want to keep the life I built with James. But I also want to give David something for everything he lost. And I can't have both. Why not? Because I can't have 2 husbands. Someone has to lose. She leaned forward. You need to stop thinking about this as choosing between 2 men. You need to think about it as choosing who you are. Who I am. Yes. Are you the woman who honors her first commitment? Or are you the woman who has grown and changed and built a new life? Both are valid. But they can't coexist. And just like that, she had given me a new way to see it. This wasn't about David versus James. This was about past Emma versus present Emma. Which one was real? I spent time with David. Not romantically. Just talking. He told me about the captivity, the interrogations, the isolation, the times he wanted to give up. He told me about the day he escaped, how he ran for 3 days straight. And through all of it he said he thought about me. You were my reason. Every time I wanted to die, I thought about holding you again. Coming home. I survived for you. The weight of those words was crushing. How do you walk away from someone who survived for you? But how do you walk away from someone who helped you survive? I spent time with James too. We went to dinner. We went to the Italian place where he proposed. Remember this? He asked. I remember. Would you have said yes if you knew David was alive? I don't know. Probably not. He nodded. Do you regret it? Marrying me? No. Never. But you regret that he wasn't dead. I regret that I have to choose. I regret that loving both of you makes me a villain. James reached across the table. Took my hand. Emma, I love you. But I can't share you. And I can't keep living in this uncertainty. If you choose David, I'll understand. But I will move on. I'll file for divorce. And if I choose you, then we never speak of this again. We don't talk about David. We commit to this marriage and we move forward. That's not fair to David. Life isn't fair. He's had 20 years stolen from him. But I can't give him mine too. 2 weeks into the month, Maya asked to talk to me. We went for a drive. I've been spending time with David, she said. How's that going? It's strange. He tries to build this connection that doesn't exist. Do you want it to exist? I don't know. Part of me feels like I owe him something. But the bigger part of me just sees a stranger trying too hard. You don't owe him anything. I feel guilty, Mom. Guilty that he suffered. Guilty that I don't remember him. Guilty that I love Dad more. She started crying. I pulled over. Held her while she sobbed. I don't want you to choose him, she finally said. I know that makes me selfish. But I don't want you to choose him. Why? Because Dad loves you. Really loves you. Not the memory of you. The real you. The you that exists right now. And David doesn't even know that person. She was right. David was in love with 25-year-old Emma. The woman who existed before deployment, before loss, before everything changed. But I wasn't that woman anymore. I was 48 years old. I had raised 3 daughters. Survived grief. Changed in 1,000 ways. David didn't know any of that. He was in love with a ghost. Just like I had been in love with his. That night I couldn't sleep. I got up and went to the garage. Found the box with David's things. Inside were letters he had written me during his first deployment. I read them all. Every single one. And I cried. Not because I wanted that life back. But because I was mourning it. Really mourning it. We were supposed to grow old together. Supposed to raise Maya together. Instead we got 6 years. 6 years and then nothing. And it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair that he got captured. It wasn't fair that he suffered. But it also wasn't fair that I spent 20 years grieving. That I raised a daughter alone. None of it was fair. And I realized something. I couldn't make this decision based on what was fair. I had to make it based on what was real. And the reality was I had changed. The woman David fell in love with didn't exist anymore. The woman I was now was someone James had helped create. I could choose David out of guilt. Out of obligation. But I couldn't choose him out of love. Because I didn't know him anymore. And he didn't know me. 3 weeks into the month I made my decision. I called David and asked him to meet me. One last time. We met at the park. He knew before I said anything. I could see it in his face. You're choosing him, he said. Yes. James stood up. Crossed the room. Pulled me into his arms. And for the first time in a month I felt like I could breathe. But later that night, lying in bed next to James, I couldn't sleep. Because choosing him didn't make the guilt go away. Didn't make David's pain disappear. Didn't change the fact that I had just destroyed a man who had survived everything else. And I wondered if I would ever stop feeling like I had made the wrong choice. Even though I knew it was the right one. The first few weeks after I chose James felt like walking on broken glass. Everything looked normal on the surface. Sunday dinners. School pickups. Date nights. But underneath something had shifted. James was different. More careful with me. Like I was fragile. At night, he would reach for me and then stop. Hesitate. One night, I grabbed his hand and held it. I'm here. I chose you. You don't have to be afraid. I'm not afraid. Yes, you are. You're afraid I'm going to wake up one day and realize I made the wrong choice. Did you? No. But he didn't look convinced. The girls were struggling too. Maya started seeing David regularly. Coffee dates. Walks in the park. He asks me about my childhood, she said. About milestones he missed. And I don't know how to tell him that those stories belong to Dad. You don't have to protect my feelings. I'm not protecting yours. I'm protecting his. Every time I mention Dad, it's like watching him die a little. Sophie was angry. Still. One day, I cornered her in her room. We need to talk. I don't want to talk to you. You almost left Dad. You almost destroyed our family. And you want me to just forgive you for that? I didn't almost leave him. I was trying to figure out what was right. What's right is staying with the person who's been there. What's right is not making your kids wonder if their family is going to fall apart. You're right. And I'm sorry. Are you? Because you took your time deciding. Like Dad wasn't enough. Like we weren't enough. Her words cut deep because they were true. Sophie, I know you're hurt. But I need you to understand something. David didn't ask to be captured. And when he came back, I couldn't just ignore that. But you could choose us. And you took forever to do it. Rachel handled it differently. She got quiet. Withdrawn. One night I found her crying. Baby, what's wrong? Are you and Dad going to get divorced? No, we're not getting divorced. But you thought about it. Yes. I thought our family was safe. I thought we were happy. We are happy. But we almost weren't. And now I'm always going to wonder if you're thinking about leaving. I sat on her bed. Pulled her into my arms. Rachel, I chose Dad. I chose this family. And I'm not going anywhere. How do I know that? Because I'm telling you. And I've never lied to you. But trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. Even with your own children. James and I started couples counseling. The therapist asked us to describe our marriage before David came back. James went first. We were happy. Really happy. I never doubted us. Then she looked at me. I felt guilty, I finally admitted. Every day of our marriage I felt guilty. Because I was happy with James, but David was dead. And being happy felt like betraying him. James looked at me. I had never told him this. And now? Now that you've chosen James, do you still feel guilty? Yes. More than ever. Why? Because now David is suffering and it's my fault. It's not your fault, James said. Isn't it? He came back for me. He survived for me. And I sent him away. The therapist leaned forward. Emma, you're carrying guilt that isn't yours to carry. You didn't capture David. You didn't make him suffer. You were told he was dead. You moved on. You don't get to feel guilty for surviving. But I do feel guilty. I know. And that's what we need to work on. Over the weeks, we talked about everything. The guilt. The fear. And slowly, painfully, we started to rebuild. But rebuilding isn't the same as fixing. David stayed in town. Got an apartment. Found a job. He and Maya met for coffee every Sunday. He looks at me like he's mourning something, Maya said. Like every moment with me is a reminder of everything he lost. That's not fair to either of us. She was right. 3 months after I made my choice, David called me. Can we meet? Just for a few minutes. I hesitated. But there was something in his voice. I said yes. We met at a coffee shop. He looked better. Less haunted. Like he was starting to heal. I wanted to tell you something. I'm leaving. Leaving. Moving. There's a job opportunity in Colorado. Veterans Outreach Program. My heart sank. What about Maya? We've talked about it. She thinks it's a good idea. Says maybe I need to build my own life instead of trying to fit into yours. When are you going? 2 weeks. So this is goodbye. Yeah, this is goodbye. We sat there. 2 people who used to mean everything to each other. I'm sorry. For everything. Don't be. You gave me closure. That's more than most people get. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. I want you to have this. I opened it. Inside were his dog tags. David, I can't take these. Please. I need you to. I need to know that part of my life is with someone who cared. Someone who remembers. I took the dog tags. Closed my hand around them. Be happy, Emma. You deserve it. So do you. Maybe. Someday. But right now, I just need to figure out who I am when I'm not fighting to get back to something I lost. He stood. Hugged me. Long and tight and full of goodbye. Thank you. For trying. For caring. For being the reason I survived. And then he was gone. I sat there for a long time holding those dog tags, crying quietly. Not because I regretted my choice, but because some goodbyes hurt even when they're necessary. That night I told James about the meeting. About David leaving. How do you feel about it? He asked. Sad. Relieved. Guilty. Everything. He pulled me close. You did the right thing. For all of us. I know. But I didn't feel like I had done the right thing. I felt like I had survived something. 2 weeks later, David left. Maya drove him to the airport. She came home quiet. How was it? I asked. He cried. At the gate. Hugged me and told me he loved me. And I stood there not knowing what to say because I don't love him. Not the way he wants me to. That's okay. Is it? I feel like a terrible person. He's my father. He suffered for me. And I feel nothing. You feel what you feel. That's not terrible. That's honest. Life went back to normal after that. Or what passed for normal. James and I renewed our vows. Small ceremony. Just immediate family. Sophie gave a reading. Rachel cried. Maya smiled. And I meant every word I said. Every promise I made. But there was still a part of me that wondered. What if David had come back sooner? What if everything had been different? I tried not to think about it. Tried to focus on the present. But sometimes late at night I would take out those dog tags. Would hold them in the dark. Would remember. 6 months after David left, we got a postcard. From Colorado. A picture of mountains. On the back. I'm okay. Learning to be okay. Thank you for everything. I showed it to Maya. She smiled sadly. I'm glad he's okay. Me too. I put the postcard in a drawer with the dog tags. James found them one day. Sitting on the bed. Holding the dog tags and the postcard. You kept them, he said. Yes. Why? Because they're part of my story. Part of who I was. And I can't pretend that person never existed. He looked at me. Are you still in love with him? No. But I still carry what happened. The grief. The guilt. I can't just forget that. I'm not asking you to forget. I'm asking if you're with me. Really with me. I am. And I meant it. I was with James. Fully. Completely. But I was also with the ghost of who I used to be. And maybe that was okay. Maybe I didn't have to completely let go of the past to live in the present. Maybe I could carry both. The love I had and the love I chose. James put the dog tags back in the drawer. Kissed my forehead. "'Kay," he said. Okay. And that was enough. For now that was enough. But I knew that some wounds never fully heal. Some choices never stop echoing. And some ghosts never completely leave. They just learn to live alongside the living. A year passed. Then 2. Life moved forward the way it always does. Relentless. Indifferent to the wounds we carry. Maya graduated with her master's degree. Moved into her own apartment. Sophie transferred to a college across the country. Needed distance, she said. Rachel stopped being angry. Or maybe she just got better at hiding it. Perfect grades. Perfect attendance. Too perfect. James and I were okay. Not great, but okay. We went through the motions of marriage. Dinners and conversations and sex that felt more like obligation than desire. I could feel the distance growing between us like a slow leak. And I didn't know how to stop it. I still saw Dr. Mitchell. Once a month. You're grieving, she told me. Still grieving. Not for David. For the version of your life that died when he came back. So what do? You accept it. Accept that life isn't a story with a clean ending. Accept that choosing doesn't erase the cost. But I couldn't accept it. Couldn't stop wondering if I had destroyed the wrong man. James was different now. Quieter. More withdrawn. He spent long hours at work. Came home late. Ate dinner in silence. One night I asked him about it. Is everything okay? He looked at me. And I saw something in his eyes I had never seen before. Resentment. I don't know, he said. Is it? What do you mean? I mean, we're going through the motions, Emma. We're pretending everything is fine. But it's not fine. What's not fine? This marriage. Everything. My stomach dropped. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm tired. Tired of wondering if you're thinking about him. Tired of feeling like I won by default. Tired of competing with a ghost. You're not competing with anyone. Aren't I? Even though you chose me, even though David is gone, he's still here. In the way you look at those dog tags. In the way you get quiet. In the way you're not really here with me. I am here. No, you're not. Part of you left with him. And I don't know if it's ever coming back. His words hit me like a slap. Because he was right. I'm sorry, I whispered. I don't want you to be sorry. I want you to be present. I want my wife back. I don't know how. Then figure it out. Because I can't keep living like this. I can't keep being the consolation prize. You're not. Yes, I am. And we both know it. He left the room. I heard the guest room door close. We were sleeping in separate rooms again. I called Dr. Mitchell. Emergency session. James says I'm not present. Says part of me left with David. Do you think that's true? I don't know. Maybe. Emma, what are you afraid of? I'm afraid that choosing James was the wrong choice. Not because I don't love him, but because I can't give him what he deserves. What does he deserve? All of me. Undivided. Without doubt. Without guilt. And I can't give him that. Why not? Because part of me will always wonder, what if I had chosen David? She interrupted me. You're not wondering what if you had chosen David. You're wondering what if you had been a different person. Someone who could choose without guilt. But Emma, that's not who you are. Then who am I? You're someone who loves deeply, who feels things completely, who carries the weight of her choices. And yes, that makes you complicated. But it also makes you human. James doesn't want complicated. He wants me to be okay. Then maybe you need to tell him that you're not okay. And you might not be okay for a long time. And that has to be acceptable. That night I tried to talk to James. Really talk. You're right. I'm not okay. I thought I would be by now. But I'm not. I know. And I don't know if it ever will. I don't know if I can ever stop feeling guilty about David. James was quiet for a long time. You want to know what the worst part is? I understand. I understand why you feel guilty. Because if the situation were reversed, I would feel the same way. So what do we do? I don't know. Maybe we accept that this is our reality now. That we're married but we're both carrying wounds that won't heal. Maybe that's enough. Is it? Is that enough for you? It has to be. Because I love you. And I'm not leaving. But Emma, you have to meet me halfway. You have to stop living in the what-ifs and start living in the what-is. I'm trying. Try harder. It wasn't cruel. Just honest. Around that time I got a call from David. Emma, I need to talk to you. David, I'm coming to town. To see Maya. But I need to see you too. I don't think that's a good idea. Please. It's important. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met at the same park. He looked different. Better. Healthier. Like he had been healing. You look good, I said. What did you need to tell me? He sat down. I'm getting married. The words hit me like a truck. What? I met someone. In Colorado. She's a therapist at the VA. She helped me through a lot. And we fell in love. I stared at him. You're getting married? Yes. In 3 months. And I wanted you to know. I didn't know what to feel. Happy? Sad? Relieved? All of it at once. That's wonderful. I'm happy for you. Are you? Yes, I am. You deserve to be happy. So do you. Are you? Happy? I thought about James. About our strained marriage. I'm working on it, I said honestly. David nodded. I spent a lot of time being angry at you. But my therapist helped me see something. What? That I was in love with a memory. With who you were 25 years ago. And that woman doesn't exist anymore. You grew. Changed. And I didn't know that person. No, you didn't. But James does. And that's why you chose him. Not because he's better than me. But because he knows you. The real you. It was the most honest thing anyone had said to me in 2 years. I'm sorry. For everything. Don't be. You gave me closure. And that allowed me to move forward. To find Sarah. To build something new. He stood. Hugged me. Brief. Friendly. Be happy, Emma. Really happy. You've earned it. So have you. He walked away. And this time I didn't cry. I felt relief. Pure, uncomplicated relief. Because David moving on meant I could, too. I drove home. James was in the kitchen making dinner. I need to tell you something. He turned. Wary. What? David is getting married. I watched his face. Surprise. Relief. How do you feel about that? He asked carefully. Relieved. Happy for him. Free. Free. Yeah. Free from the guilt. Free from wondering if I destroyed his life. He's okay. He's moving on. James crossed the room. Pulled me into his arms. Does this mean you can move on too? He whispered. Think so. I hope so. He held me tighter. I love you. And I want this to work. So do I. We stood there in the kitchen holding each other, trying to find our way back. That night, we slept in the same bed for the first time in months. Just held each other in the dark. And for the first time in 2 years, I felt like maybe we could survive this. Maybe we could find our way back to each other. But then a week later, something happened that shattered that fragile hope. James came home from work early. Found me in the bedroom holding David's dog tags. I wasn't crying. Just holding them. Remembering. He stood in the doorway watching me. When I looked up and saw him, I saw something break in his eyes. You're never going to let him go, are you? He said quietly. James. No. Don't explain. I just need to know. After everything. After David moving on. After us trying. Are you ever going to let him go? And I realized I didn't have an answer. Not one that would save us. James moved out 3 days later. Not permanently. Just temporarily, he said. He needed space. He went to stay with his brother across town. The girls were devastated. Again. Sophie called from college, crying. I thought you two were okay. I thought we were past this. We're working through some things. That's what you said before. Are you leaving Dad? No. Is he leaving you? I don't know. Rachel locked herself in her room. Wouldn't come out. Wouldn't eat. When I finally got her to open the door, she looked at me with eyes full of rage. You did this. You destroyed our family. Rachel. No. Dad loved you. We all loved you. And you couldn't let go of some dead guy who came back and ruined everything. I'm still your mom. Are you? Because a real mom wouldn't do this to her family. She slammed the door in my face. And I stood there, realizing my 15-year-old daughter was right. Maya came over that night. Found me sitting in the dark living room. She didn't ask questions. Just sat next to me. I'm losing him. I'm losing James. I know. I chose him. I sent David away. I did everything right. But I'm still losing him. Mom, you chose him. But you never fully committed. Part of you has been living in the past for 2 years. And James knows it. I don't know how to let go. Of the guilt. Of the what-ifs. Of the feeling that I destroyed someone to save myself. Maya took my hand. You didn't destroy David. He's getting married. He's happy. He moved on. Why can't you? I don't know. Dr. Mitchell tried to help me figure it out. You're holding on to the guilt because it's familiar. Because letting it go means accepting that you made a choice, and sometimes choices hurt people. But I destroyed him. You keep saying that. But David is fine. The only person you destroyed was yourself. What do you mean? You're punishing yourself. You chose James, but you won't let yourself be happy with him. Because you think you don't deserve to be happy after what you did to David. Maybe she was right. But I can't live like this. I can't keep destroying everyone around me. Then you need to decide what you want more. The guilt or the life. I called James. Asked if we could meet. He agreed. We met at a coffee shop. He looked tired. Older. Like the past 2 years had aged him a decade. Thank you for meeting me. He nodded. Didn't speak. You were right. I haven't let David go. Not because I'm still in love with him. But because I can't forgive myself for choosing you. Why? Because choosing you meant hurting him. And I don't know how to be happy when my happiness came at someone else's expense. James leaned back. Emma, everyone's happiness comes at someone else's expense. That's life. That's choice. I know that intellectually. But emotionally you're stuck. Stuck in a moment 2 years ago. And you've been living in that moment ever since. He was right. I don't know how to move forward, I whispered. James reached across the table. Took my hand. Emma, I love you. But I can't keep fighting for a woman who won't fight for herself. What does that mean? It means you need to decide if you want this marriage. really want it, but because you love me enough to let go of the guilt and be present. And if I can't, then we're done. I deserve better. I deserve a wife who's fully committed. And so do you. How much time do I have? I don't know. However long it takes. But Emma, I'm not waiting forever. He left. That night, I did something I hadn't done in months. I called David. He answered on the third ring. Emma, is everything okay? I need to talk to you. Can we video chat? His face appeared on my screen. Modern apartment. Clean. Nothing like the broken man from 2 years ago. What's going on? James left me. Temporarily. Because I can't let you go. Emma. No, let me finish. I chose James. But part of me can't stop feeling guilty about what happened to you. David was quiet. Then he said, Emma, I need you to listen to me very carefully. Okay. You didn't destroy me. You freed me. What? When you chose James, when you sent me away, you gave me permission to stop fighting. And that allowed me to heal. To move forward. To find Sarah. But you suffered because of me. I suffered because I was captured. Because I was tortured. But you? You gave me hope. You gave me a reason to survive. And then you gave me the closure I needed to move on. You let me go. There's a difference. Emma, if you had chosen me, we would have destroyed each other. You really believe that? I know it. I loved who you were. But I didn't know who you are. Behind him, a woman appeared. Blonde. Pretty. Smiling. That's Sarah. Sarah, come meet Emma. She came over. Warm eyes. Kind face. Hi, Emma. I've heard so much about you. Congratulations on the wedding. Thank you. She put her hand on David's shoulder. I don't see you as a threat or a ghost. I see you as someone who saved him. I didn't save him. I sent him away. You gave him closure. And that's what he needed to move forward. David pulled Sarah close. Kissed her cheek. I'm happy, Emma. Really truly happy. And you need to be happy too. How? By letting go. By forgiving yourself. By accepting that you made the best choice you could and it's okay that it hurt. But James is leaving me because I can't let go. Then let go. Not for me. For yourself. For him. For the life you chose. After we hung up, I sat there for a long time. David was happy. He had moved on. The only person still suffering was me. And I was doing it to myself. I went to the bedroom. Opened the drawer where I kept the dog tags. Held them one last time. These pieces of metal had defined my life for 20 years. But they were just metal. Just objects. They didn't hold power unless I gave it to them. I took them to the garage. Found a small wooden box. Put the dog tags inside along with old photos and letters. All the pieces of my life with David. And I put the box on a high shelf. Not thrown away. Not forgotten. Just put away. Honored. Remembered. But separate from my present. Then I went back inside and called James. Can you come home? Please. Emma. I'm ready. I'm ready to let go. I'm ready to be present. I'm ready to choose this life without guilt or doubt or what-ifs. Are you sure? Yes. And I need you to believe me. I need you to give me one more chance. He was quiet for a long time. Okay. I'm coming home. He walked through the door an hour later. I crossed the room. Took his face in my hands. I choose you. Not because David is gone. Not because it's easy. But because I love you. The real you. The you who was here. Who knows me. I put David's things away. Not thrown out. Just away. Where they belong. In the past. And I'm choosing to live in the present. With you. James pulled me close. Held me tight. I never wanted you to erase him. I just wanted you to be here. With me. I am. I finally am. We stood there, holding each other, two broken people trying to put the pieces back together. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. But it was real. And real was all we needed. The next morning I called Maya, Sophie, and Rachel. Your father is home. And we're going to be okay. Sophie cried with relief. Rachel smiled. Maya said, good. It's about time. 3 months later, we went to David's wedding. All of us. Me, James, and Maya. It was beautiful. Small ceremony in the mountains. David looking happier than I had ever seen him. When they said their vows, I felt something release in my chest. The last thread of guilt. The last what if. David had found his happy ending. And so had I. They were just different endings. And that was okay. At the reception, David pulled me aside. "Thank you for coming. Thank you for inviting me. I wanted you to see this. Wanted you to know that everything worked out the way it was supposed to." "Did it?" "Yes. You were meant to be with James. I was meant to find Sarah." He hugged me, full of affection and closure and goodbye. "Be happy, Emma. You too." And this time when he walked away, I felt nothing but peace. James took my hand. "Ready to go?" "Yeah, I'm ready." We drove home together. And for the first time in 2 years, I wasn't thinking about the past. I was thinking about the future. Our future. The one we chose. The one we fought for. The one that was finally truly ours. 5 years later. I'm 53 years old now. Gray hair, I don't bother to dye. Lines around my eyes that come from smiling more than crying. James and I renewed our vows again last year. Not because we needed to, but because we wanted to. Because after everything we survived, we wanted to celebrate. It was different from the first renewal. Less desperate. More joyful. Sophie and Rachel stood up with us. Maya gave a speech that made everyone cry. She talked about what it means to have 2 fathers. How James raised her. How David gave her life. "I'm lucky," she said. "Most people only get 1 dad. I got 2. And most people only get to see their mom survive one impossible situation. I got to watch mine survive several." After the ceremony, Rachel pulled me aside. She's 20 now. Studying psychology. Wants to help people the way Dr. Mitchell helped me. "Mom, I'm sorry. For what I said that night when Dad moved out. About you not being a real mom." "Rachel." "No, let me finish. I was angry and scared. But you are a real mom. The best mom." I pulled her into a hug. "You were a kid dealing with something impossible. We both made it through. That's what matters." She smiled. "Yeah, we did." Sophie came over with her fiancé Marcus. She's getting married next summer. Asked both James and me to walk her down the aisle. I want both my parents. Because you both gave me this life. Things between Sophie and me are good now. Took time. But we got there. Maya still sees David. They have lunch once a month when he's in town. Sarah's pregnant. They're having a boy. David called to tell me himself. I'm going to be a father again. And I'm terrified and excited and grateful. You're going to be amazing. You don't have to make up for anything. You just have to show up. That's what you taught me. Showing up is what matters. He was right. Showing up was what mattered. That's what James did. That's what made him my husband. I still think about that time. Those years when David came back and everything fell apart. But I think about it differently now. Not as a tragedy, but as a test. A test of who I was. Who I wanted to be. What I was willing to fight for. And I passed. Not perfectly. Not without scars. But I passed. James and I are different now. Stronger. More honest. We talk about David sometimes. About how close we came to losing each other. Do you ever regret it? He asked me once. Choosing me? Never. Not once. Even with all the pain. Especially because of the pain. Because the pain taught us what love really means. What does it mean? It means staying when it's hard. It means choosing every day. It means forgiving yourself and each other for being human. He kissed me. Soft. Tender. I love you, he whispered. I love you too. And I meant it. Fully. Completely. Without reservation or doubt or guilt. Last month I finally went through that box in the garage. The one with David's dog tags and letters. Maya asked if she could have some of the photos. She's creating a scrapbook. I gave her everything. Told her the stories behind each photo. She cried. Not sad tears. Just overwhelmed. Thank you. For telling me the truth. For not pretending it was simple. It never was simple. No. But it was real. And real is better than perfect. My wise daughter. 28 years old now. Working as a therapist herself. She's engaged to Eric. They're getting married in the fall. Both her fathers will walk her down the aisle. James and David. Together. It was her idea. And both men agreed without hesitation. Because they both love her. And love means putting your ego aside for the people who matter. Sometimes people ask me about that time. About what it was like to have 2 husbands. I tell them the truth. It was the hardest thing I've ever been through. Harder than anything. But it taught me something important. Life doesn't give you clean choices. It gives you impossible situations and asks you to do your best. And your best is enough. Even when it hurts. Even when people get hurt. Your best is enough. I don't have nightmares anymore. I wake up next to James. And I'm grateful. Grateful for the life we built. Grateful for the choice I made. Not because it was easy, but because it was mine. Last week I got a letter from David. He and Sarah had their baby. A healthy boy. They named him James. After your James, he wrote. Because he's the one who taught me what it really means to be a father. Not biology. Not promises. Just showing up. I cried when I read that. Happy tears. Because it meant David understood. Really understood. That love isn't about who was there first. It's about who stays. And James stayed. Through everything. He stayed. That's what made him my husband. I showed James the letter. He read it quietly. Then handed it back. He's a good man, James said. So are you. He smiled. That smile that still makes my heart skip. We're all just trying our best. Yeah, we are. That night we sat on the porch. Watching the sunset. Holding hands. Do you ever wonder what your life would have been like if David hadn't come back? Sometimes. But not in a sad way. Just curious. And I think it would have been good. Happy. But also incomplete. David coming back, as painful as it was, gave me closure. Gave us both closure. So you're glad it happened? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Yes. I'm glad. Not glad for the pain. But glad for what came after. For the healing. For the choice I got to make. James squeezed my hand. I'm glad too. We sat there as the sky turned purple and pink and orange. And I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Complete peace. Not the absence of pain. Not the absence of memory. But the presence of acceptance. I had loved David. I had lost him. I had found James. I had nearly lost him too. And then I had fought to keep him. And we had survived. All of us. David with his new family. James and me with ours. Maya with both her fathers. We had all survived. The next morning I went to visit Dr. Mitchell. Not for therapy. Just to thank her. She had retired but agreed to meet me for coffee. I wanted you to know you saved my life. She smiled. You saved your own life. I just asked questions. The right questions at the right time. That's all any of us can do. Ask questions. Be honest. Keep showing up. Before I left, she asked me one last question. If you could go back, knowing everything you know now, would you do anything differently? I thought about it. About the pain and the guilt and the impossible choices. No, I wouldn't change anything. Because it made you who you are. Because it taught me what I'm capable of. What love is capable of. What survival really means. I drove home. James was in the garage. Rachel was studying. The house smelled like coffee and normalcy in life. This was my life now. Not the one I planned, but the one I chose. And it was enough. More than enough. It was everything. That night, lying in bed next to James, I said something I had needed to say for 5 years. Thank you. For what? For staying. For fighting. For not giving up on us when I had given up on myself. He turned to face me. His hand on my cheek. I would do it again. All of it. The pain. The doubt. The waiting. Why? Because you're worth it. We're worth it. And I knew he meant it. We were worth it. I fell asleep that night with his arms around me. No nightmares. No guilt. No what-ifs. Just peace. The kind of peace that comes from surviving something impossible. The kind of peace that comes from making hard choices and learning to live with them. The kind of peace that comes from finally truly letting go. And in the morning when I woke up, I didn't reach for anyone who wasn't there. I just opened my eyes. Saw James sleeping beside me. Heard Rachel laughing downstairs. Saw sunshine streaming through the window. And I was grateful. For this life. This family. This choice. For surviving. For healing. For learning that sometimes the right choice is the one that hurts but leads to peace. I got out of bed. Made coffee. Started another day. Another day in the life I chose. The life I fought for. The life that was finally completely mine. And somewhere in Colorado, David was waking up next to Sarah, feeding his baby son, living his own life, his own peace. We both got our happy endings. They just looked different than we imagined. And that was okay, because life isn't about getting what you planned. It's about making peace with what you got. And I finally had peace. Real, lasting, hard-won peace.